Great. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Dr. Heather Kendall, and I'm the chair of the Department of Nursing at Missouri Western. On behalf of the nursing faculty, I'd like to welcome you to the white coat ceremony for the BSN class of December 2026. Yay! We're excited to honor our nursing students as they begin their journey into professional nursing practice. Tonight, the students will be welcomed into the clinical practice of nursing by donning their white coats, which are a timeless symbol of care and compassion in healthcare. The white coat ceremony was established by the Gold Foundation in 1993 for medical schools. And in 2014, the ceremony was extended to include nursing as recognition for the vital role of nursing within the healthcare team. Through initial funding through the Gold Foundation and a collaboration with the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, a new tradition in nursing education began. Today, over 300 schools of nursing hold white coat ceremonies. The purpose of the white coat ceremony is to welcome students into clinical nursing practice with an emphasis on providing compassionate, collaborative, and excellent patient care. The Gold Foundation provides all students with a Keeping Healthcare Human lapel pin. The pin serves as a visual reminder to each student that in order to deliver the best patient care, compassion and empathy must be at the center of their clinical practice. The logo on the pin is the Mobius loop, which symbolizes the continuous bond of trust, respect, and communication that connects nurses with their patients when humanism is kept at the center of healthcare. Before we move forward with the ceremony, I'd like to take a moment to thank the members of Missouri Western's administration and members of the foundation who are in attendance this evening. We appreciate your ongoing support for the nursing program. Thank you. In addition, I'd like to take a moment to thank Dr. Stephanie Stewart for her leadership in organizing this special event. I'd also like to thank the nursing faculty and staff who provide critical support of our program. Each team member's contributions to the success of Missouri Western's nursing program and to our students is immeasurable. Each nurse here tonight brings a tradition of excellence that they hope to pass on to future nurses. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of the students, the families, and the friends who have joined us in honoring the nursing students in this special white coat ceremony. Thank you all for coming. So at this time, I would like to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Tara Patterson. Tara is the co-founder and lead boxing trainer for the Freudenthal Center for Parkinson's Disease. She works in this role with Dr. Stephanie Stewart. Tara lives outside of Fillmore, Missouri with her high school sweetheart and husband. Same guy, right? Garrett. Together, they run a family farming operation and have 6 children and 4 grandchildren. Her life consists mostly of family, faith, and farming. Something she also finds to be of great importance is the time she spends in lending a hand to help others, which is why the Parkinson Center is very close to her heart. I'll welcome Tara to the podium to share some words of inspiration to you all.
Good evening. Oh, goodness. Okay. So my name is Tara Patterson. I was asked to speak with you tonight about a positive impact that a nurse has made on my life. So I'm going to be straight with you. Public speaking makes me extremely nervous. So just bear with me as I navigate my way through this. Okay. So I'm going to start out with a quote from the author Judy Blume. Our fingerprints don't fade from the lives we touch. I have not read a statement with more truth in it that would describe the precious lady who, to me, was an angel in scrubs. I met Ann Hufflin for the first time at St. Francis Hospital in Maryville, Missouri on August 4th, 1997. She was one of the nurses in the room with me when I delivered my first child, although she was not my primary nurse that day. I had a smooth, short labor and delivery with no complications. Her shift ended shortly after the birth of my son, and I did not see her again until the morning of my discharge. She wheeled me out to my car with a big smile on her face, and we engaged in small talk about me being a first-time mama. On our drive home, I told my husband what an engaging, kind person I thought Ann was, in spite of only spending a short amount of time with her. I had no idea at the time the significant role Ann would play in my life 2 years later. July 9th, 1999. I'm going to leave a few details out of this story so that it stays prevalent to Ann's honor. I was 39 weeks pregnant with my second son, and I woke up that morning with an unusual ache in my back. To play it safe, I called my doctor, who promptly sent me to the hospital to be checked out due to the fact that I had shown some progression at my appointment a few days prior, and the fact that I had a rapid labor and delivery with my first child. I arrived at the hospital. They confirmed I was in labor, and they started me on a Pitocin drip at 10:30 a.m. to attempt to regulate my contractions. Ann, being my primary nurse that day, did an exam on me, and I was halfway there at about 11 a.m. So we were off to a rapid start, but everything looked good. Baby's heart rate was good, and it appeared I would have another uneventful delivery. This is not the way things ended up. About 15 minutes later, I asked for a shot of Stadol to take the edge off my pain. So Ann left me in the care of another nurse for a few minutes to go get my medication. I'm going to leave out some details here because they do not reflect Ann's character, and she had nothing to do with this. But I will tell you, listen to your patients if they tell you something is wrong. We're not always right, but the 1% chance that we are. When Ann came back to my room, she came back with the charge nurse, and they got down to business very quickly. My baby was in big trouble. There was no time to wait for the doctor, so Ann put her arms around me. She got an inch from my face and told me she needed me to get that baby out on the next contraction. She was very loving to me, but she knew to be firm in her command because my baby's life depended on it. My son entered the world at 11:23 a.m., delivered by the other nurse, while Ann held my hand and did her best to keep my husband, who was fully aware of what was happening, calm. The doctor entered the room at this time as the nurse caught my baby, cut his cord, and handed him to Ann, who began doing life-saving measures on him. My son's umbilical cord was wrapped twice around his neck and around his wrist, and he was born with his hand on top of his head. And he was born dead. I could see Ann working frantically to save my baby's life. I watched her head drop, saw her lay her hands down on the table, and watched her shoulders shake as my son's first cry rang out. I got a really quick cuddle with my baby, and then Ann had to take him to the nursery to be monitored while the doctor repaired some pretty extensive damage to my body. After he finished and left the room, it was no time at all before my family started pouring in droves. Ann came in behind them and I looked at her with these big crocodile tears in my eyes. Anne told everyone in the room that she understood that they all cared and they were excited to meet the baby, but she needed to think of what was best for me and all the trauma my emotions and my body had just experienced, and that I just needed some space and rest. Let me tell you, seeing your newborn baby lying there dead does something to a person. She left no room for argument. About an hour later, I woke up and Anne came into my room with a warm basin of water and a washcloth. She washed my face, brushed my hair, and gave some comfort care to the very sore areas of my body. She talked with me the whole time about my family and told me all about hers. It was the easy, light conversation that I needed. I was still very much in shock over what had occurred, and I needed the normalcy of talking about something other than what had happened that morning. The next day, Anne unfortunately was not my nurse, but after her shift ended, she came into my room and sat down in the chair beside my bed and told me she just wanted to check on me to see how I was doing before she went home for the evening. As she sat and snuggled my baby, Caleb, we talked, laughed, and at times I cried for over 2 hours. That visit was on her personal time, and it was a balm to my weary soul. So I went on to have 2 more children after Caleb, and Anne was with me for both of those babies' deliveries as well. Anne was such a gentle woman, oh boy, and she was funny, but she had a feisty side when she needed it. I had an epidural with my 3rd baby, and my husband blurts out, "Oh my gosh, you should see the size of that needle." And guess what, y'all? I am afraid of needles. I would rather be punched in the face than stuck with a needle. That is the gospel truth. So Anne looks at him and says, "Well, Garrett Patterson, shame on you, and I ought to boot you out of this room for that comment." So 2 days before my last baby was born, I happened to run into Anne at Walmart, and unfortunately, she was not scheduled to work on the morning of my induction. I was pretty sad, I'll admit, because she had been there with me through all of my deliveries, and I really, really wanted her there. So when I walked into the OB unit on that Friday morning, there was Anne with a big smile on her face because she had switched shifts with another nurse to be with me. So I'm gonna get a little sad on you for a second. Not all stories have a happy ending. On April 20th of 2006, my beloved nurse and friend, Anne Hufflin, left this world at the age of 53. My heart broke along with most of the town of Maryville and the surrounding areas. You see, I wasn't exclusive to have the relationship that I had with Anne. So many stories of all the lives of patients she had touched just flooded in. So many mamas so grateful for the loving care received from her. Anne was not only an advocate for her patients, she was a champion in the art of compassion. My son Caleb, Anne's bad baby, as she called those who gave her a scare in the delivery room, graduated from high school in 2018. On his table at his reception sat a photo of him as a baby in Anne's arms. The nurse who saved his life, the nurse that, because of the Lord working through her hands on that day, made his graduation day a possibility, and I got a dear friend out of the deal. Caleb went on to play college football on a full-ride scholarship, graduated from college, and married the love of his life, Catherine, in 2023. The only reminder of the day of his birth is a scar on his wrist. Now back to that quote. Let's visit that again. Our fingerprints don't fade from the lives we touch. So my hope and my prayer for all of you is that you will leave your mark on the lives of every individual you care for in the most positive ways. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tara. At this time, I'll invite faculty members Allison Anderson, Laura Nold, and Mackenzie Evans, who will explain the symbolism of the pin, the white coat, and the lamp.
Lo, in that house of misery, a lady with a lamp I see, pass through the glimmering gloom and flit from room to room. In 1857, Longfellow wrote about Florence Nightingale and her work that she did with the soldiers during the Crimean War. Florence became known as the Lady with the Lamp because of this poem. And because of her work, the lamp became a beacon of comfort, kindness, gentleness, courage, and an unswerving devotion to duty in the dark nights of hospitals. It is our hope as faculty that our students will also develop kindness, gentleness, and courage, and that they will provide comfort to all of those with whom they have contact.
The Arnold P. Gold Foundation and the American Association of Colleges of Nursing are sending a clear message to new nursing students that compassionate care must be the hallmark of your clinical practice. The three symbols we will share today serve as a visual reminder of your oath and commitment to providing high-quality patient care. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation's mission is to champion humanism in healthcare, which they defined as compassionate, collaborative, and scientifically excellent care. The Gold Foundation has generously provided a lapel pin for each student with its logo, keeping healthcare human. The loop symbol you see on the pin represents the continuous bond of trust, respect, and communication that connects healthcare professionals with their patients. To our dedicated nursing students who are starting their journey of providing the highest quality of care, may these symbols remind you of the sacred work you now have before you.
And our last symbol, the white coat. So on one level, the white coat symbolizes the science of nursing and the commitment to providing quality, safe, compassionate, patient-centered care. But on another level, receiving this white coat today symbolizes a transformation that is about to happen to each and every nursing student as they start their clinical practice.
Are we ready, ladies and gentlemen? We'll start with that first row. Katie Engel. Emerson Babe. Avery Barber. Connor Barnes. Zach Bossy. Ellie Brill. Allie Brown. Jalen Burgess. Danielle Caps. Megan Kalman. Sarah Crowther. Brianna Graham. Yeah, we're in the wrong order, aren't we? That's okay. There we go. At least I know who they are. That one's difficult. Abby Goodman. Grace Harper. And baby Vivian. Talia Harrison. Gracelyn Hoffman. Corbin Howard. Aya Hewitt. Ellie Hurst. Rose Johnston. Han. Natalie Kistler. Jennifer Langford. Taylor Lombard. Kenya Martinez. Skylar Martinowski. Lauren Newland. Amy Patton. Miguel Osbronco. Stephen Peters. Osley Romero. Gabby Russell. Grace Sell. Abby Sandusky. Justin Sell. Kenneth Staggs. Jaslyn Stark. Lexi Townsend. Kennedy Walden. Julia Weisenhunt. Hannah Williams. Amanda White. Okay, at this time, we'll give the students all a second to get all up on the stage. Okay, we're probably gonna have to make some rows. Up in front. Oh, you're fine. Okay, fine. You're fine. Stay back, stay back. You're fine. Just get in between each other. So let's switch. Get back. Can we switch? Go for it. Oh, do you want it? What? Stand in between each other. Okay. Kind of shift a little. Trying to.
Use the microphone.
You can.
Am I supposed to?
Want to, you gotta get more started at the same time. Okay, ready? I know, that's cute.
As I begin my journey into professional nursing, I pledge to use the guidance, skills, and wisdom passed down by my nursing professors and mentors, optimize the experiences and outcomes for patient-centered care. Pledge to use my eyes to observe, my mind to assess, and my hands to do no harm. I pledge to use my knowledge to provide holistic care practices. I pledge to collaborate and communicate effectively with the patient, the patient's family, and other healthcare professionals. I pledge to provide privacy, preserve dignity, and exhibit understanding to each patient by upholding the professional, legal, and ethical standards of practice. I pledge to use compassion as a mechanism of healing, to treat every patient as an individual, and to always exhibit skillful practices to bring about health and wellness. With this pledge, I accept the accountabilities and responsibilities that the nursing profession embodies.
You guys stay where you are. Okay, thank you everyone for coming out to support our students. I am going to ask that you all stay on the stage for a few moments. Let everybody get their pictures. To our guests, please enjoy this special time. Thank you again for supporting our nursing program at Missouri Western State University. Have a good evening.
I see it all. I know. Yeah. There he is. I know, I don't want to be caught lost.